Happy Sabbath, children! I love the Sabbath. It's the best day of the week. And do you know why? That's right, because God made it special. Did you know that Genesis chapter 2, verses 2 and 3 give us 4 reasons why the Sabbath is special? Let's look at each one of these reasons, shall we? First, God ended his work of creation. Think about that. In just 6 days, God created an entire planet with all its living and non-living parts, plus a supporting solar system and natural laws that help keep everything working properly. That's pretty incredible. So then, the Sabbath is a memorial or a remembrance of God's amazing work of creation. And that's exactly what God wants us to do every Sabbath. To stop and remember what he has made. Second, God rested. No, he wasn't tired. He stopped working on the Sabbath to show us that we also need to end our work and rest for one day. A complete 24-hour period from sundown Friday to sundown Sabbath. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that people who keep the Sabbath often live longer? Yes, it's true. Just as you need to rest every night so that your body can recharge and repair itself, your body and mind need a once-a-week rest as well. Not to sleep, but to worship God and rest in Him. Third, God blessed the Sabbath day. When God blesses something, it gives blessings. When we rest on the Sabbath, our mind receives blessings. Our families are blessed. Our health is blessed. And I bet you can add many more blessings to this list. Fourth, God sanctified the Sabbath day. To sanctify something means to make it holy or separate it from other common things. Only God can make a day holy. And once he makes it holy, no one can make it common. Because the Sabbath is holy, we must not do any common activities during its hours. The other 6 days of the week are for our regular work and activities, but the Sabbath belongs to God. It's his special day. That's why it's called the Lord's Day. But God didn't make it just for himself. No, he made it as a gift for us. God doesn't want us to be robots, working without rest, and he doesn't want us to always be so busy that we forget about him or neglect our families. So, he created a space of time each week just so we can put our lives on pause to rest, reconnect with our families, and recharge our physical and mental strength. You know, a lot of people think that the Sabbath is a day only for the Jews to worship. But history tells us a different story. God gave the gift of the Sabbath to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and to their children. After the flood, the Sabbath was given to Abraham and his children, the Israelites. When Jesus came to earth, he went to the synagogue each Sabbath. And he himself said in Mark 2:27 and 28 that the Sabbath was made for everyone because he's the creator and owner of the Sabbath day. Now, let's stop and think about this for a minute. If Jesus kept about 52 Sabbaths each year, and if we multiply 52 Sabbaths by the number of years he lived, which is about 33, that would equal at least 1,716 Sabbaths that Jesus kept while here on earth. That's a lot of Sabbaths. And not only that, when Jesus died on the cross, he rested in the tomb or died before the Sabbath began and resurrected after the Sabbath had ended. After Jesus returned to heaven, Peter, Paul, and all the apostles also kept the Sabbath. Every Sabbath, they worshiped God, preached, visited people, helped the sick, went for nature walks, and taught others about Christ, including the Gentiles. In fact, we can read in Acts 17 verse 2 that Paul preached for 3 Sabbaths at a synagogue in Thessalonica to Jews and Greeks. Revelation 12:17 tells us that Christians at the end of time will also honor the Sabbath because they keep the commandments of Jesus. It's interesting that the 4th commandment is the only commandment that actually tells us that God is the lawgiver and his title is creator of the heavens and earth. Really, the 4th commandment is God's stamp of ownership on the law because it's the only commandment that gives his name and his title as creator of the heavens and the earth. You see, in history, from beginning to end, there's a golden thread of Sabbath keepers from Adam and Eve all the way down to those who lived just before Jesus returns. The Jews were just one part of this thread. All who keep the Sabbath show that they love God enough to obey him. And so the Sabbath is a sign between God and his true followers forever and ever. Isaiah 66:22 and 23 tells us that someday, when all God's people have been redeemed, we will worship God each Sabbath in heaven, and later on the earth made new. Do you see now, children, why the Sabbath is so special? I hope so. See you next Sabbath.